we are live now. Namaskaram. Okay, so we have got some technical issues with the other stream to enter to live. So here we are waiting for Roja Akka to come, and we can go ahead with the interactive session after this. We'll wait for some time and we'll wait for more people to join. And I hope I'm audible to all. If I'm audible, if I'm not audible, please let me know in the comment box. If my voice is not clear, you can please let me know. I guess, yeah, we'll just wait for Roja Akka to come. Okay, so I'm audible. Everybody is saying that. All right. Send a request to join you. Okay. I think Akka, I don't think that Akka is here. We can wait for her to come, and after that we can start our session. Roja Akka, if you are here, yeah. So Roja Akka, I cannot see you in the viewer. If you have come, you can please comment here so that I can add you, Akka. Okay, so we can wait for a few more minutes, please. Okay, so it's going to take a few more minutes. So namaskaram to all. This is Swati Atmanathan from Bandish Arts, and we are extremely proud here to have Roja Akka with us. So I think Akka is here with us. I will add her on to our broadcast meeting. Akka, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Namaskaram, Akka. And
Namaskaram.
thank you so much for giving your time. And there was some technical issues with what we have been trying a lot for the past few days. All these problems happened, but that's fine. We are back here with the interactive series.
Yeah.
And I think I'm audible to you, Akka, and I think I'm audible to the viewers as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. First of all, thank you so much, Akka. We really heartily welcome you to Bandish Arts. Despite your all busy schedule and everything, you just kept everything aside and you took your precious time and came here for us. Thank you
My
so much for
pleasure.
that, Akka.
My pleasure.
And
My
with
pleasure.
that, I would like to request you to put up a small light on our festival and start with your precious words for us, Akka. Please.
Um, Thank you again, Swati and Shantanu, for having me on your sessions. I've been following all your sessions, although not live. I used to catch it up at late at night, and have been really enjoying. I just love the way you both joined together and started these. Right? I think right at the beginning of the lockdowns. I think you have started these.
Mid of the lockdown, yes, Akka. June, from there.
June, yes. And looks like it has been a great start, and it's most welcome, for us when we are stuck at homes and not able to do anything. We are helpless, in fact, and
Absolutely.
not able to do anything with the situation. But at least such things keep our minds relaxed and help us, enjoy the arts. And
Definitely.
the best thing is you've been able to get artists from all over the world, which is a fantastic initiative that you have done, because there are so many around the world who are going through the same problems like us. And of course they all need a let out, and as artists we don't know anything but to sing and dance, so definitely this has been a most welcome initiative by you. Hearty
Thank you so
congratulations
much,
to
Akka.
you and
Thank you
Shantanu.
so much,
Yes,
Akka.
my
Really,
pleasure.
thanks a lot. And of course, today with that, we would not take so much of time for you. We will take ahead the questions from here itself. Akka, I would like to start with your choreography, which is very beautiful, phenomenal. Whenever we will see on the stage, we have a witness of something very different. And that's what I want to ask, that we have always seen that you have been doing wonders in the group. So, and can you please let us know the inspiration or the motivation, the small resource behind it through which you think and you start on working with that? And of course, most important thing is that you have been a chain for us from the time of Lakshman sir and Mami till now, with all the generations who are working here. So how are the changes have come from that time to this time, and how you have communicated your art form through your choreographies, the time when you were there with them and now you are here with us?
Yes. Thank you. That's a very interesting question. And the word choreography is something very new to actually our Indian arts, because it is
Yes.
more a Western term that has been borrowed by us. And composing was what used more in olden days. And earlier on, that is when we were all with our gurus, it was just learning whatever they had already composed and done, and reproducing it the way that they had conceived it and they had visualized it. So that used to be the way we started off. And then as we gained experience and as we progressed in our learning process with our gurus, and the gurus themselves gave us the freedom to explore. That was the beauty of those gurus, who were so open-minded, who were so broad-minded, who had no blinkers in their eyes, and they made us look all over. So they said, and the best part was they let us experiment, and they also gave us corrections. They said, this is good, this is not suitable, this can be used, this will not be. So this way we were able to inherently start our own take on composing and choreography while we were under our gurus. With their guidance and with their watchful eyes, we started doing our own things. And especially in the maybe the Jati and the Nritta portions we didn't much change, but when it came to handling the Abhinaya aspects, the hands and the Sancharis and the Varnams, we were given total freedom to explore. So which meant that we had to do our research, we had to do our reading, and we had to think about the relevance of using those hands or those stories in those particular lines. So all this we were allowed to do when we were quite young. So that is the beauty of the learning from these gurus. And slowly we also got so many tips on how to choreograph, how to compose, how to bring in adavus for a particular jati. All those tips we were given right from the beginning. So when we started doing our own things, we naturally followed those rules that we were given. And with Lakshman sir, it was always the musicality of the compositions which was topmost in his list of priorities. He said it has to go with the music. You have no two ways about it. It has to be with the music, and you have to respect the Vagekara or the composer for what he has done. And you have no business to meddle with it or interfere with it in any way. So that way, we were also given such valuable tips to handle these choreographies, the compositions. So this was how we started off, right from when we were under the watchful eyes of our gurus. Then later on, much later, when we started our own dance classes and we were dealing with students of all ages, then we had to start thinking of new uripadis, new items to suit the age and the maturity of the students. So that is when our actual foray into choreography started. So right from the beginning, we had to give shape to a composition or an item. But the guidance and the advice that we had got from our gurus stood by us. So based on that, I was able to handle all the different choreographies for my disciples. So like every Arangetram I had done, I used to have a thing that I will do one new item for that particular student, based on her age and maturity and her capacity. So like that is how I slowly started my own choreographies, and have quite a few. I've done almost 60 to 65 Arangetrams now. So that many number of items I have choreographed, I would say. Padams, shabdams, opening items, tillanas, varnams also we have done. So it has been a very fulfilling and enriching experience to do that. Lot of research, lot of homework, and especially finding new hasta mudras for certain words, which used to be a big challenge. How can this word be expressed? It has never been done before. This is a new word that I'm handling now. What will I do? How will I do it? So all those things we had to start researching on. So this is how it started. And then slowly, when I started presenting my students in groups for group choreographies, I watch a lot of performances. That is one thing that I love to. I go and watch many performances, many group choreographies. The earliest that I have watched are the Kalakshetra dance dramas. When my guru also was there, we used to go in a big group to watch all those choreographies, and that was something out of this world, So those were the initial inspirations for the group. The formations and the sync in the movement of all the dancers and the lines and everything, and which was so pleasing to the eye. So when you do a group, those are the most important things that people look for. So such things were inspiring. And later on, according to the number of students in a particular group, I had to work around the choreography and everything. And the best part is I have not done choreographies in the sense that only for dance dramas like that. Even for items in the Margam, when I had to present it as a group, because I totally believe in the beauty of the Margam. So when I'm asked to present a group, I will say I will present a Margam, but I will present it in a group. Basically, old wine in a new bottle, that's it. But even when I do that, just for the audience to get a feel of a very different experience, I used to work on the choreographies where I will also be performing along with the students, and the students will be split into groups, one group or two groups or three groups, and then it will be a question of coming in and going out, and so it will be totally attention, people's attention will be totally, held, because there's so much happening on the stage, and they will not be missing anything. So this way I have also worked on several themes on which I have done choreographies with my students, starting from Tyagaraja Kirtanams, compositions of the Trinity, and our own items from the Margam, like the Nandichol, the Jatishwarams, the Shabdams, and the Varnams, and especially for my 25th anniversary of my dance school, Bharatanatyalaya, which I celebrated in 2012. I had asked for a Varnam to be, there was a very popular and senior lyricist and Nattuvanar, Kumbakonam Gajendran. So he approached me and said, why don't I write something for you? Since you're celebrating your 25th anniversary, why don't you do something new? Immediately I thought of, because whatever I am, it's only because of my gurus. So immediately I told him, okay, sir, please write to me something about a guru. What is a guru? What is the role of a guru? Who are all the gurus who have inspired us historically and also from the epics? So immediately he came up with a lovely Varnam in Simendra Madhyamam on the gurus. Guruvin Arule Adharam. So that I had to choreograph with almost 65 of my students. And I wanted to give an opportunity to everyone, because they've all been with me for the last 25 years. So that was one of the very important choreographies that I did of a Varnam, a proper Varnam with beautiful jatis, which were given by my guru's brother, Adiyar Gopinath. And so we did that in a group, and the choreography, everything had to be based on the group dynamics, So that was another very enriching experience that I had. And choreographing for Tyagaraja Kirtanams and Shyama Shastri's Kirtanams. That also I have done in groups. The thing is, I could have done all this as a solo. It's not something that I couldn't have done, but I always had this feeling that whatever I have enjoyed as a performer, as a soloist, my students also should get the benefit of it, So I always want to include them. And when I dance along with them, it gives me renewed enthusiasm, that in fact I'm almost competing with their energy levels, their aramatis, and their level of stamina, but it gives me a very good motivation to dance when I dance along with them. Many times I've heard many come and tell me, why are you dancing along with your students? What is your level and what is their level? That thought never occurs to me, whether it is levels or whether the age or the experience. It's a group dynamic that works when you dance with them, So, and for them also, it's because they are dancing with me and I am putting so much of effort and into that whole, for them, they are also having that that guilt feeling, that of course we also have to work. When Rojaka herself is doing it, why can't we do it? That sort of a competition, a healthy competition builds up. So this is my experience in working with group choreographies. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think, I'm sorry, Akka, somebody is telling that my voice is echoing. So, is my voice fine with you?
For me, it's fine. For me, it's fine. Yeah.
So, just a minute, we'll ask our viewers. Is suggest if you have the headphones, can you use your headphones, Akka, in case?
I can. Yeah.
Okay. The voice is echoing, they say. Can any one of you help us saying that if it's fine? Still the voice is echoing. Okay.
Because unless it's at most necessary, I don't want to wear this. It's so.
Okay, if there is still echo, somebody says.
Okay.
Can we check Akka with the
Yeah, okay. I will wear my headphones.
Hello. Yeah. Is it fine to all?
Yeah.
Or still is it echoing? Only when Swati is speaking. Okay. So
when I'm speaking, it's okay. Okay, in that case, I will remove this.
No, it's fine, Akka. Hello. Yeah. Okay, just I'll remove my. Is it audible to all?
Yes.
I think it's echoing back again.
No.
Okay. Now all right. Somebody says now all right. Somebody says still an echo. Okay. I think Akka better try wearing the earplugs. Yeah, that will be better. Yeah, better we will use.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it fine?
Yeah.
Okay. They say my voice is echoing. Okay. So I don't know what to be done for this. I guess this is much better than what it was before, I think. Okay, fine. This is fine, they say. Fine. Okay. This is all the technological faults that we can't help it, Akka, absolutely. So, when we were talking about the choreographies, as you have said, so I would like to go to the next note for that.
Yeah.
That is, you have worked with several artists also, Akka, in their productions. You have been experiencing with their practice, and you are practicing according to them, according to you, they have been practicing. So, how this has given you a different experience? How was your experience with them? And most importantly, the grammar of the classicism which we learn in the dance, if that is somewhere like shaken, or if you are able to balance it, how did this happen? How did this help you?
Yeah. So again, I have to thank my Guru Lakshman sir for allowing me to work in these group productions. Because I was still under him when I started working with the groups. So it started in 2002 with our group called Parashaha. So it was actually commissioned by Natya Rangam of Narada Gana Sabha, and they wanted us to do a group program for 45 minutes on Bharadiyar's compositions, and we had to present it in Bharadiyar's Illam in December. So that is when I first met in person Priya Murli, Shrikant, and Lavanya Anant. So we were all brought together, and like you said, each one was from a different school.
Correct. Yeah.
I was in Kalakshetra Bani, and Priya was Tanjavur Bani, and Srikant was Dr. Padma Subramaniam's Bharatanatyam Bani, and Lavanya was from Vazhavur. Lavanya was
completely different.
Yes, completely different. But the beauty of the whole production was we never changed anything in whatever we were doing. Each one did it in their own style in which they had learnt, their own banis that we had learnt, but it was blending so beautifully. It blended so beautifully. And there were many groups in that production, many group performances, and there were solos, and there were twos and threes. So we came in twos, threes, four, group, everything. But not in any one instant also did we get a feedback that we were not synchronized or we were not doing it together or anything. So each one maintained their own discipline, own bani, own way of handling the abhinayas. Wow. And at the same time, we could blend so beautifully. So I would say it is the beauty of the art itself, of Bharatanatyam itself, which lends itself to such a wonderful confluence of banis. So this, actually speaking, Sudha auntie will always say there are as many banis as dancers. So each one brings her own,
their own
their own bani. So as many dancers, you know, that's very true. Especially when we worked in these group programs, each one had their own style, had their own strengths, and we cashed in on those strengths. So that is how these group dynamics worked. So Parashaha has, we've been surviving for the last 17 years now, almost 17 years, and we've come up with many productions, starting from Bharatiyar. Bharatiyar, in fact, we have done almost close to 90 shows of Bharatiyar. Yeah. It was such a big hit. And after that, we did Ardhanarishwarar Kuravanji, and then we did Marabu, and then we did Prapatti Margam, and then we did Matru Devo Bhava. And our last one was a huge production with multimedia and other things called Aranganin Padayil. Where we had we traced the journey of Lord Ranganatha from Srirangam to so many other places, and how he was brought back to Srirangam after 48 years. That was our one of our biggest productions this far. And the final we did was Tirumailai Kuravanji of Mailapur Kabalishwarar.
Yes, so that was very beautiful.
Yes.
In Nardagana Sabha I saw.
Yes, in all this we had worked as a group, and you know, some things we always worked out when we were with a group. When it comes to choreographing the nritta portions and other things, it will be always Priya and Srikanth who will work together. So I will just take a back seat and I will say yes. Because if everybody tries to put in their, you know, it will become a mess. So we had certain things segmented, you know, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I used to be the administrator of the whole group. So all the other administrative work and everything I used to take care. And when it came to costumes, Srikanth used to be there right in front, because he was so very good about colors and styles and everything. And Priya always had this special brain, you know, where she'll come in with some very unique concepts. And because she has an experience of working with Terukuthu, theatre, Tai Chi, this, everything. So she will come up with all her unique ideas. So it was a very healthy confluence of everything. You know, that is where when you are in a group, you have to just shed that me, mine, I will do it. That ego has to just be shed, and then everything will work. So that is the mantra for working in groups. I would say.
Yeah. Definitely, that's a very important point which you have said, because if we do not work in group, we won't learn.
Yes,
that's very important. And thanks for answering it so beautifully, Akka. And one important thing I found, that when it comes to learning under legends, that two different legends. So you are one of them. And you have learned under Lakshman sir, Talam, Nritya, everything together. What motivated you to go to that is Lakshman sir, and then to Mami? And how you have been learning balancing between both of them, which is very important. And how are these were helpful, and how it was challenging for you? Is there any difficulties you faced during learning under both of them? And how it any moments, if you still cherish and can share with us?
Yeah. See that going to Mami when I was still with Lakshman sir is only because of Lakshman sir. He was the one who encouraged us to go to Mami and learn the Abhinaya portions of Varnam and some unique padams and javalis and everything. And actually he was one of the first gurus who let their students go and learn from Kalanidhi Mami when she came back to the field to teach. And at both places it was very different experiences with Mami and with Lakshman sir. With Lakshman sir it was a very, although we all of us loved him like anything, and he also treated us like his own daughters, there was this a thin line, you know, that Maryada. It's not that we didn't have Maryada for Mami, but we were always on our guard, standing and you know, very formal and everything with him. But when we went to Mami, it was totally casual, you know. She was like our own mother at our own home, you know, it was like that. And so we used to chit chat and talk to her, gossip with her, all sorts of things. So this atmosphere itself was very different in both the dance classes. And with sir, it was a very strict way of learning, exactly in the Kalakshetra mode of learning. Certain things where it has to be like this and it will be like this. There is no two way about it. Either you do it or you don't do it. You know, it was with Mami, she gave us the freedom to explore. She will give us the idea, and it is up to you to take how much ever you can, assimilate it and reproduce it. If you are able to reproduce it in very different ways, she is all ready to appreciate you for that. So the relationship with Mami was more informal, and it was a very different kind of an experience. And also because when it came to handling Shringaram, with Lakshman sir, there always used to be a very a thin line of hesitation sometimes, you know, to express fully in front of him. And although he used to be immersed in his music, closing his eyes and doing his alapane and all that, you know, but with Mami, we didn't have that feeling at all. It was very, very open, and we could discuss anything. We could discuss anything, our innate fears, our doubts, our family issues, if we had any, about our friends, anything we could discuss with her, and she will guide and advise us on those issues. So this was a sort of learning that we enjoyed with Lakshman sir and Mami. And but I would say they were both strict, but at the same time we had the proud, I would say, privilege of being showered by their love and affection on a daily basis. You know, it was fantastically enriching, that experience itself, to be with them and showered by their love and affection. And we also learnt in the process. So that was the experience I shared. Yeah.
Very true. It's a boon actually to be with them, Akka, in this entire life.
Yeah.
JD, thanks, Akka. And we would take the next question. I heard that you have learned Mohiniyattam also. So, how this helped Akka to incorporate your dance style, and if any of your productions you have done with, I think, yes, and how that helps you out to, yeah, again the same thing, that if you're balancing Mohiniyattam and learning Bharatanatyam, both are something very different art form, beautiful independently. But still we get the clash problem when being a young dancer, when we are learning two styles at a time. So how this helped you out? What motivated you to learn Mohiniyattam at the same time when you were already a student of Bharatanatyam?
Yeah. See, Mohiniyattam we learnt when we were very young, and it so happened our guru Trichur P. Ramanathan, he was one of the faculty at Natyalaya where we started learning, and he was a direct disciple of Kalyani Kutti Amma. So we were very blessed to be learning from him, and very casually we started learning. We never, we in the sense, my sister Meena and myself. So we started learning very casually, and we learned about 4 or 5 items from him. We completed the Adavus of the Mohiniyattam style, and because we were having classes every day, those days, it was an everyday affair in the evening, you know, so we had lot of time to do so many things. So we were learning Bharatanatyam, we were doing Mohiniyattam, we were learning music, everything. So we had a fantastic learning experience, learning with Ramanathan sir. And of course, you know, Mohiniyattam is full of grace and the torso movements and the movement of the eyes and everything. Whereas the style in which I was being trained in Bharatanatyam is a Kalakshetra style, which is known for its lines and its angles and its altham and other things. So automatically their thought used to come that if you are going to bring in that Malavu and Chulivu in your Bharatanatyam, Lakshman sir is not going to be happy about it. But the best part was, sir was very clear about it. He said, each body has its own dynamics. You know, each body has its own way of handling adavus, has its own way of handling movements. So if innately your body is graceful, it's not because of Mohiniyattam you're going to bring it in Bharatanatyam. Because you're automatically a very gracefully molded dancer, you will bring in that grace in Bharatanatyam. So wherever it is appropriate, it is not wrong to bring in that grace in your... And also this Mohiniyattam as a style has this very slow and lethargic way of handling Abhinayam. You know, there is no hurry for anything. You take your own time to assimilate, to immerse yourself, and then come out with the Abhinayam and expressions. So that training, you know, although we were very young, we were maybe 12 and 14, you know, that age is what I'm talking about when we learned. But all that held us in good stead even when we grew up as performers. And this is a sort of influence Mohiniyattam had. So I could balance both the grace and the altham of Kalakshetra style. And so my reviews that I have got, many a time it would say grace and grit, you know. So there was grace as well as grit. So wherever there has to be grit, the grit used to be prominent. Wherever there has to be grace, the grace used to be prominent. So I had my own way of handling it. So it became my own way of doing it. So that is the beauty of, you know, getting a chance to explore these two classical styles.
Absolutely. The firmness, as you have said, hard Lama, we need to be more firm. That is very
grounded.
Correct, grounded. Thank you, Akka. So with that, I would take another question. Actually, this is a very important point, Akka. I want your opinion for those artists who have somewhere due to some circumstances they might have stopped dancing or gave a break to their dancing profession. So if they are heading back, how come that fire will be you know, on for them in their life? And if they can, is it possible for them to, you know, get into the dancing profession back? And if not, then what can be the other options for them? Because I would like to combine the other question also with this, that the prolific artists, many of them, they have learned a lot of things, and they have trained themselves for years and years. But all the times it's not necessary that they get the opportunity to become the professional artists. So somewhere I feel that these two questions are combined with each other. So I want to want some clarification on this from you.
So the thing is, Swati, we all start learning when we are very, very young, you know, when we are in a very impressionable age. Our mothers make us start learning, like when we are 5 and 6 and 7, we are sent to the dance class. At that age, we don't have an idea about what we are getting into. You know, we don't know what the art form is about, but we just go there because our mothers have asked us to go. And very rarely do you come across some dancers who have this, like a child prodigy, you know, they are able to, progeny of some great vidwans and artists who all start very young when they are 3 and 4, and you call them prodigies. Okay. The rest of the 95% of us who are all artists now have all gone through this process of learning over the years, starting on a daily basis or once in thrice a week or twice a week, and we do it on a regular basis. And then when it comes to the point where we can do our Arangetram, a little bit more of the glamour of going on stage, the costume, the photo shoot and the jewelry, all that keeps us going. And then when the pressure of studies, postgraduate, undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral, that this comes in, it all comes to the priority wise, dance and music comes to the last. And but what I would definitely vouch for is the spark that has been ignited when you were young in your mind or in your heart about the art form, and that which has taken you right through will never die. It will be always there. So at somewhere in the corner of your heart, you really want to go back to dance class and do at least once a week or twice a week, or at least get yourself, be connected with the art form in some way, go watch a program or read a book about the art form, and things like that, you know. So that will never ever come to an end. So what happens when, as girls growing up in families, you have to go through the family pressures and whatever is the norm. Some of them escape this, some of them are very strong. They say, no, we want to totally get immersed in the art form, we do not want to go the family way. And there are artists like that, and who have reached the top of the field, with their sincere dedication and hard work and commitment. But there are many others like me who have gotten into the family, environment, and listening to the parents, getting into a family, bearing children, raising them and everything. But all along this process, that fact that you were so close to the art form, and then you had given so much of your growing up years, so much of time you have invested in that in your growing up years, as against your friends who were all, doing something very, didn't even have something to do like this. They were enjoying themselves, going to parties or watching movies, but you were forever in the dance class, because that's what you wanted to do. And then suddenly the whole thing is snatched away from you, and you're told to be away from the art form, and you have to do this, that, this is the time you have to do, concentrate on this. So what happens to the psyche of that dancer at that point of time? What happens? So definitely there is a low happening at that point of time. But then with the family support and with the encouragement from the people around her, and if you also have a guru who is willing to work with you again, because if you are coming back after a few years or even after a couple of years, you need to really put your heart and soul into it and start working. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy for you. It's very, very difficult to get back to shape. It's very difficult. So unless you have all this working around you, it is not possible for you to do it. So with all this, and with your sincere hard work, commitment and dedication, you can come back to the field as a performing artist. As against, if you are not able to keep up to that level, you can definitely do teaching. Teaching is one of the very, 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 very good options that you have, which will still keep you connected with the art form. And it is one way you don't forget what you have learned, It is very true. It is one way that you, so much of your time and effort you have put into the art form, why should you just forget it? So by teaching to the next generation, you are also in touch with the art form. At the same time, you are also able to satisfy your innate urge to be connected with the art form. So it is definitely possible. And like you said, not everybody can be performing all the time. So sometimes you have to compromise on the performance and maybe divert your energies and your mind to teaching. And also there is so much in the way of research, documentation, so much you can do with your life nowadays. There's so much that is possible, and still be in the arts. You can still be connected with the art. At the same time, you can also concentrate on such things, enhance your knowledge, gain so much in your lifetime. So these are the things which will help you to get back to the art form. It is possible. I will not say it is not possible. Nothing is impossible in life. That is one other mantra. That is another mantra that I have learned from my mother.
Absolutely, Akka. That's very, very important. As you have said, yeah, these days we have got critiques. The writers in the magazines are there. They are into the art form. Maybe they are not practicing, but that doesn't mean that they are not expert. Of course, they have so much of knowledge what even the performer doesn't have generally.
Yeah.
So these all are the great options to go with. But yes, to that I would like to take another question, Akka. That you are such a prolific artist and a meritorious teacher as well. So this is a thing that, and either you are somewhere, either you are a good artist or you are a good teacher. Not necessarily these two things are always blended in one performer. But we can see the true teacher inside you and a beautiful performer with the same spark and the energy level. Sometimes that's what your students who often talk to me, they'll be like, ayo, I cannot like match up her energy the way she dances on the stage. So how this is this, like, it's not confusing you anywhere between teaching and dance, but still you are able to balance. You are able to give entire time to your teaching class, your classes, everything. Plus, you are able to give entire time to your performance, your practice as well. How are you able to do this, Akka? We want to know this.
So the basic thing is, Swati, time management. I am very, very particular about managing my time. You know, I have to have my whole day managed in front of me. So from this time to this time, this time to this time. So hourly I will have my diary. It's all written from 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, like that, you know.
Correct.
So, and I also love both. You have to really love doing both. I love to teach. I also like to dance. So how am I going to accomplish both? So unless I manage my time and unless I have the discipline in my physical activities, I will not be able to do both. And when I dance, I do not want to compromise. Just because I am a little old or I am not in a stage where I can jump around or do all those adavus that I was able to do before, I don't want to compromise, especially when I handle my sir's choreographies. He will always say, don't change anything in my choreography. Whatever, if you do it properly. Otherwise, you don't do it. You know, but I love doing his choreographies. So how am I going to put up with the strain and the absolute high levels of energy that is required to handle his choreographies? So unless I work on my physical fitness, I will not be able to do it. So where is the time to handle my physical fitness? I should have a time for that. So a time for that, a time for my classes, a time for my other administrative work, a time for my resting. I also need to rest my mind for some time.
Of course.
That, a time for teaching, a time for going out and watching performances. I love to go out. I love to dress up. I love to go out.
That's something is a spirit for all of us to which we see on you, Akka. That's the only thing which I actually wanted to conclude with a question. But here I would like to put on the note, being you are already doing so many things, plus the biggest responsibility, president, being a president of Abhay. It's really not an easy task at all, Akka, to manage all these stuffs, plus dance, plus performance, being an organizer, taking the calls of the artists, responding to them, working with them, working for the productions, choreographing, getting time to choreograph new pieces, and plus teaching for your courses, plus taking time for your own practice. this is something extreme huge task which you are doing like very easily, very smoothly, and no one can think of even doing this much. If we, okay, president of Abai, that's fine, okay, desk work on all this, but how are you able to balance all these multiple things on one desk? It's something which really wonders all of us, and we really wanted to know that yes, as you have said, time management, but still, even though when we are going with the time management, we somewhere clash everywhere, Akka. That patience is going away. Because we'll be like, okay, administrative வேலையும் பார்க்கணும், dance classம் இருக்கு, practice-உம் இருக்கு, performance இருக்கு. Sometimes we go mad, we may go mad. So we really want to know that how you are balancing this, and your humble message and words to young dancers like us, your vision towards this art form, that that will be adding a lot of value to all of us, I'm very sure. So please do share that with us, Akka.
Yeah. So this added responsibility of being a president of Abai
Yes.
is, I mean, I'm blessed to be in this position, which was earlier on held by the legends of Bharatanatyam, you know. So I am really nowhere anywhere close to them as far as Vidvat and experience is concerned. But somehow, you know, with the blessings of my gurus and God, I have been able to become the president of this wonderful, wonderful fraternity of artists. So once I have taken up the responsibility, no excuses can be given for not performing what I have to do as a president. So that is my utmost first thing that comes to my mind. So I will go all out to accomplish all my duties as a president of the organization, and as a president and as an organization which is now looked up to by the fraternity of artists. Everybody now looks up to Abai and you know, thinks that, oh, what is Abai going to do for us? Is Abai going to be there to help us for something? Is Abai going to advise us on something? Is Abai going to give us a solution for this problem? So that sort of a role Abai has come to play in the lives of artists now. So how am I going to satisfy all these different roles that I have to do as a president, and at the same time I cannot compromise on my students for whom I owe a responsibility. I owe a responsibility to them as a teacher, and my performances, because after all, what is going to give me the utmost pleasure and satisfaction is when I go on stage. For any artist, that is the truth, you know, that you get your utmost bliss and happiness when you go and perform on stage, whether there is an audience or whether there is not an audience. That is only second priority, you know. You love to have that experience in the lights and in the in auditorium, and with a live orchestra, nothing can beat that experience.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's a list of priorities that I work out on a daily basis. If today the Abai work has to be given more time, I will somehow manage that and try to finish it. And I cannot, the other problem is I cannot sleep without having accomplished that work. That is another problem, you know. I cannot carry it on for the next day. That day it has to be finished, it will be finished. So usually you will see my mails coming in at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 12:30.
Yes,
That's, I'm still working. So I will finish that. Only then I can sleep. If I don't get my required hours of sleep at night, I will catch up with a power nap in the afternoon. That I will not compromise, because I need to be fresh again for my evening classes. So this is the way I work it out. I work out this, and I try to balance. But that doesn't mean I don't watch the television, I don't watch news, I read the newspaper, I go into Facebook. I am very eager to know what is, so I do everything. I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm everywhere. I do everything because, and I still have so many things that I want to do in this Janma, you know. I have still not been able to do it. That is another thing that I really wish for, you know. I want to do. And usually when I'm having a performance, all my rehearsals will happen at night when I'm in bed. and I'm
Oh my God.
closing my eyes and revising my core rise and hands and everything, you know, because the next morning I will be having an orchestra rehearsal, and I wouldn't have had time to go through my hands or my jatis, you know. So what do I do? So that is the time when I am lying down in my bed and going over the jatis.
Still,
and
but
everything
those things are going over the head. That's
going
where the
on. So there
passion
is
comes.
never a
Yeah.
single second where I'm not thinking of dance, where I'm
Yeah.
not, where I'm away from the, it is always something to do with dance, you know. I really don't know how this has happened, but this is what it is now. And now these last 4 months, there has been no performances. For anyone, you know, we've not been able to have any performance, anything.
Right.
But what has been happening in my classes is I've been revising all the old varnams with my students every day, morning, evening. We take up different varnams, and usually the girls, what they will do, they will learn everything and they will also forget everything. So it's like almost handling it in a new, like a new item. So every night I am also having all those thoughts in my mind. So I'm doing a performance in my mind, you know, like I'm dancing in Mylapore Fine Arts, or I'm dancing in Nartagana Sabha or Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Even Music Academy I've danced 3-4 times in these 4 months.
Oh, sweet Akka.
Remembering all my items, you know, remembering all my varnams. You know, there is this story about a Nayan, Arvathamuna Nayanmarla. One of them is Kusalar, who built a temple for Shiva in his heart. Like that, I built a stage in my heart,
Oh
and
my
I keep
God.
dancing.
Beautiful. Really, Akka, that's what we wanted to know always, and I think this is why this session was very, very important for us in Bandish Art, and we are so thankful that you accepted our invitation. Why? Because for the artists, the generation to which we are going through right now, they are like, okay, I have dance program today, whole day rest. So I have நாளைக்கு I have a shoot, இன்னைக்கு என்னால முடியாது. These all are the examples which all, sorry, excuses which we always give. But I have remembered one day coming to your house and asking a signature from you in one of the sheets, and I wasn't even knowing that you had a shoot on that day, and you were completely ready with your costume and you were ready to sign multiple pages, and I was shocked. And I said that, okay, how Akka is able to do all these things. So this is something which was very, very important for all of us to know, and really thankful to this, Akka, because time management, when we are in the artistic field, I think time management is very, very, very important. Unless we do not keep a specific time for ourselves,
Yes.
exercises somewhere, practices
That I am
somewhere.
very, very, very sure. Morning from 8 to 9, I will not pick up any calls. It is my time when I will be only doing my yoga and other practices, you know. That is because that is very important. That keeps you going for the whole day. If you are again looking at your phone and doing something at that time, then that time is lost for you throughout the day.
Absolutely. And the whole day you won't be able to do the things properly to which you are committed with.
No.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
Really thankful to you, Akka. And with this, I would like to inform to our Rasikas also that recently through Abhay, Akka has given a beautiful initiative to help all the artists during this pandemic situation. And we have got so many donations, and everybody has like got to what level we all of us have been trying to help all the artists. And to that, Akka, you have done a brilliant social work for, as all of us know that you have been doing for years and years. But this, during this pandemic situation, those artists were financially drained so much and they have no support at all. And to the step which you have taken through Abhay is something really a great service which you have done, and really thankful to you, Akka. With the last note, I request you to just give a small sentence to the young dancers that how they have to approach towards their art form, and to bring the sustainability to this field, which is very, very important. And your words there values a lot, Akka.
Yeah. So, for anybody who is trying to make a mark in this field, nothing comes easy. It is hard work, persistence, and patience. You cannot expect miracles to happen. You have to keep sustaining and working on it to see some result. Yeah, I have taken 35 years to see some result. You know, So that sustained work has to be done, and don't give up. I would say don't give up. It will happen. It will happen when it is the time for you to happen, when it is destined for you to happen.
Correct.
But you have to keep pushing at it, keep working it. So that means you have to love it so much for you to keep pushing at it.
Right.
You know, so that much of interest and that much of passion you should have towards the art. Otherwise, you will not be able to sustain because of the immense competition that you see around you.
Correct.
Okay, so you have to keep at it, keep working at it, keep sustained progress, and definitely you will see results in it. Definitely you will see. Don't expect miracles, don't expect instant gratification at all. It will not take you anywhere. Wait for your time. யானைக்கு ஒரு காலம் வந்தா பூனைக்கு ஒரு காலம் வரும். So definitely your time will come. So wait for your time, be patient and go for it. Go for it, keep at it. Yes. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Akka, to that. We really need your blessings, and the way you have supported us, all the artists, you have encouraged all the young dancers, and not only dancers, I will say, all the artists, musicians, and everybody. So everybody is watching, and yes, we actually don't have any questions or any queries in our comment box also. Everything is clear to everybody. So thanks a lot, Akka. And we seek your blessings. We try our best to take Bandish Arts ahead with all possible groomings for upcoming artists in a fruitful way for them. And definitely, this session has been very fruitful for all of us. With all the universe, thank you so much. Thanks a lot for coming, Akka.
Thank you so
Namaskaram,
much.
Akka.
Thank you so much. All my blessings to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Akka. All right, now we can end up with this session. Okay, Akka. Namaste.